Hi, I'm Steve Mann and this is Paper Classroom. In this history tutorial we're going to be talking about environmental factors that have driven changes to paper making. In the beginning, paper fibres were sourced from annual crops like flax and hemp or old clothing. In the Far East where it started, it was old fishing ropes, bark from the mulberry tree, bits of bamboo. But once we started to learn to make paper from trees, there was no going back. That was the way to make paper. That was the source of fibre. And originally, trees were just cut down randomly. Today we realise the importance of renewable resources, and trees are treated as a crop, just like corn or rice or grapes. So they're planted and harvested. They go through this cycle of planting and harvesting. And typically for every one tree that's cut down for paper making, 2 or 3 trees are planted to replace it. We know that trees come from renewable resources or sustainable resources when they have this logo attached, when the paper has this logo attached to it. FSC is the Forest Stewardship Council, and they make sure that more trees are planted than are cut down. The pulping of wood has changed. Pulping is the chemical process that you go through to go from a whole tree to individual fibres. And again, when pulping was first started, all the liquids, all the horrible smelling, noxious liquids were discharged into rivers and watercourses. All the fumes and odours were just discharged into the air. And it wasn't uncommon if you were 10 miles away from a pulp mill, you could smell the air. It was just smelt like you were next to a pan full of rotten cabbages. And if you drank the water, it was like drinking cabbage water. Now, due to all the environmental restrictions, things are cleaned up. You don't know you're anywhere near a paper mill. All the gases, all the sulphur-based gases are scrubbed out. Liquid discharge is cleaned up before it's discharged. So we're in an entirely new ballpark now. Of course, it's important to bleach fibres to produce nice white paper. The old-fashioned bleaching methods using chlorine produce chemicals called dioxins. Dioxins are very powerful carcinogenic materials. So chlorine bleaching has by and large completely disappeared now, and it's been replaced by things like oxygen bleaching or hypochlorite bleaching. So they've stopped using elemental chlorine and they now use compounds of chlorine. So we have 2 grades of bleach product now, what's called ECF products and TCF products. ECF, elemental chlorine free. So the element chlorine, Cl2, is not there in the process. And TCF, totally chlorine free, so they don't even use compounds of chlorine in that bleaching method. They use things like, as you see there, like oxygen or like ozone. Liquid effluent discharged into rivers and seas produce many problems, but again, this has been cleaned up now and they only discharge safe liquids into watercourses. And of course, when we talk about environmental considerations, we're not just talking about discharges that are being controlled. We can also talk about raw materials. For example, sugarcane. There are 2 sources of sugar. There is sugar beet, which grows under the ground, a bit like a turnip, where you grow in cold countries, and sugar cane that you grow in hot countries. Now in the past, they would harvest the sugar cane, crush and steam it and extract the sugar, and the remaining fibrous material was just thrown away. There was nothing to do with it. They've now discovered that you can use this fibre from sugarcane, known as bagasse, for making a wide range of papers. And so now it's not uncommon to build a paper mill near a sugarcane factory. And their effluent, their solid effluent, their bagasse, their raw fibre, becomes the raw material for the paper mill. So it's a good idea, good synergy of two industries working hand in hand. Well, we come to the end of another video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and please enjoy more of my videos and give us some feedback.